Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to introduce myself. My name is Norma Yunita. I am from class G. Here I will present about my proposal and the title Unanalyzed code switching made by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 Final. The first chapter 1 Introduction. Background of the problem. English is foreign language. It's happening in several schools in Indonesia. The bilinguals can occur between Indonesian and English language. It may happen when someone communicates with each other. One, the effect of switching language is the usage of code switching. Besides the phenomenon of language variants occur in communicate that have many kinds of language, or in other words, in bilingual society. A theory in the book Stegrill agrees that people were either bilinguals or multilinguals and could speak more than one language with a fair degree proficiency. And the previous research is from Elia Mutafia. She studies and analysis of teacher code switching practice in the process of teaching English in her research. The findings from the data analyzed indicate that the types of code switching were found in three types. The first, interessential code switching, and the next, intraessential code switching, and the last, text switching. And the function of code switching used by English teachers were found for three functions. The first, topic switch, and the next, affective function, and the last, the privative function. Moreover, there were four languages involved in the process of code switching. The first, English, Bahasa Indonesia, Arabic, and Sundanese. Therefore, the writer tries to analyze code switching that used by the jury's MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 in program on RCTI TV. So, the writer makes the research and the title An Analysis of Code Switching made by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 Final. And the next, identification of the problem. Based on the background of the study, the researcher identifies the following the problem. There are the first, what are the types of code switching which appear on MasterChef Indonesian Season 6. And the second, what are the reasons for code switching done by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 Final. And the next, limitation of the problem. Therefore, based on explanation above, the researcher will find the types of code switching by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6. The researcher will find the reason for the code switching done by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian. And the title is An Analysis of Code Switching made by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 Final. And the next, formulation of the problem. Based on the background of the problem, the researcher identifies that the problem is below. The first, what are the types of code switching by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6? And the second, what are the reasons for the code switching done by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6? And the next, objective of the research. Based on the research question above, the objective of the research are to identify types of code switching by the juries of MasterChef Indonesia Season 6, and the next to identify the reason for of code switching done by the juries of MasterChef Indonesia. And the next, use of the research. There are two kinds. The essential things on this research there are theoretical and practical. And this theoretical, the results of this research be able to increase the knowledge in sociolinguistics, especially about code switching. And practically, the research findings are achieved to be useful for the first for English teacher, their knowledge in language in bilingual. Because in educational, find sometimes teacher who switch their language for signal topic change, giving and clarifying explanation and enacting social relationship. And the second, for student, the student be able to deeply understand about sociolinguistic knowledge, especially code switching, and directly can apply into their daily basis life. And the last, for the researcher, the results of this study can increase the knowledge about code switching. The results can be used as reference to conduct a future research. And the next, scope of research. The first subject of the research. The subject of the research will be the juries of MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 on program television RCTI. And the second object research, the object of retail will be code switching used by the juries of MasterChef Indonesian. And the next place of the research, the retail will be conducted at television, especially MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 program RCTI TV in YouTube channel MasterChef Indonesian. And the last time of research, the retail will be conducted of final MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 program on RCTI TV. Okay, the next, Chapter 2, Literature Review. Here, I will explain about definition sociolinguistic. Sociolinguistic is study about the relationship between language and society. It becomes word social, that means social, and word linguistic, that means language. Sociolinguistic is that part of linguistic which the concern with language as social and cultural phenomenon. According to Dirkworth, sociolinguistics is concerned with investigating the relationship between language and society, with the goal of better understanding the structure and language and how language function in communication. And the next, bilinguals and multilinguals. Bilinguals or multilinguals is common to be used by people. Multilinguals is situation when two or more languages used alternately by the same speaker. It can be said that those languages contact each other. The notion of bilinguals is especially approached an informal way, in that a person is said to be bilinguals when she or he know more than one language. And the next, I will explain about definition code switching. Every people need a coach to convey their intonation in the communication. Sometimes speakers use communicative coach, their effort to communicate which other language use. Listeners use their own coach to make sense of the communicative coach of the interact with both of the speaker and listener may we switch or match their coach. In order to signal a change in conversation, the phenomenon can be caused by code switching or code mixing. Code switching doesn't only occur between language, but also occur between a variant style contained in one language, as Helmsaert that code switching has become a common term for alternative use of two more language or variant or language or even speed style. And the next types of code switching. According to Pilpert theory, types of code switching are divided into three. The first, tag switching. Tag switching is inserts a tag source phrase in one language into utterance that is otherwise entirely in another language. Text includes interjection, filter, and idiomatic expression. Example, the sentence, "It's okay, no problem." Ya enggak? This is example text switching. And the next, intersensual switching. This type involves switching at sensual wording where one clause or sentence is one language and the next clause or sentence in the others. It's have when they're complete sentence in foreign language, utterance between two sentences in base language. Example in sentence, "Ini lagu lama tahun 60-an. It's all but goodies." They say, "Tapi masih enak kok dengerinnya." It is example intersensual switching. And the last, intrasensual switching. This last type of code switching is formed when a word, a phrase, rush, and a clause, a foreign language with the sentence in base language. Example, in the sentence, bulan depan koran ini akan muncul dengan format full service newspaper. It is example intrasensual switching. And the next I will explain about MasterChef Indonesia. MasterChef Indonesia is a television competitive cooking show which was originally created the United Kingdom by French in July 1990. As time goes by, show format has been evolved around the world and produced in more than 25 countries and see logo. MasterChef Indonesia has been started in Indonesia 2011 and 2019. It is 2019 until 2020. It has reached the 6th season program in RCTI TV in MasterChef Indonesia Season 6. People are trying to compete like a professional chef to be a champion of MasterChef Indonesia. And the juries of MasterChef Indonesia had the 3 juries where they were Alnor Purnomo, Juna Rorimpade, and Renata Muluk. Okay, at the last, I will explain about Chapter 3, Research Methodology. The first research design. In this research, the researcher will use descriptive qualitative research method, and the research subject in this research, the population as the subject and as the source of the data are the juries of MasterChef Indonesian program on RCTI TV. There were 3 juries, namely Renata Muluk, Juna, and Aldo Purnama. And the next research instrument. In this research, the researcher used video in MasterChef Indonesian YouTube channel as instrument. And the steps are the researcher search MasterChef Indonesia and then watching video. After that, the researcher analyzed type and the reason of code switching done by the jury of final MasterChef Indonesian Season 6. And the next data collecting technique is the first main step in the research because main purpose of the research is to get data. In qualitative research, there are 4 kinds to collect the data, such as observation, interview, documentation, and triangulation or compass. For getting the data, the researcher will use documentation. And the next research procedure. In this research, use some procedure or step to take the data. The first, formulating the research problem and determining the focus of the research. The focus is analyze code switching used by the juries in MasterChef Indonesian program on RCTI TV. And the second, determining the way to gain the data. It is taken based on the documentation analysis. And the last, determining and the third, determining the research subject. The subject in this research in juries, namely Chef Juna, Chef Arnold, and Chef Renata of MasterChef Indonesian program on RCTI TV. At last, taking the document, the writer take the document with look for the video the juries in MasterChef Indonesian on program RCTI TV in YouTube channel MasterChef Indonesian Season 6 final, and tries to transcribe and utilize and also select and classify the data based on utilities by the juries of MasterChef Indonesia on RCTI TV. And the next, the writer identifying and classifying the data. The writer arranges the data systematically in accordance with the research question. And the last, making conclusion. Finally, the writer makes conclusion based on the data that the writer finding. Okay, I think enough for my presentation. I'm so sorry for our mistake. At last, I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.